One of our predictive analytics techniques is to do a time series analysis or run a regression. And in this is a case we're going to run a regression to help us predict future product demand. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Specifically, we're being asked what are the drivers of monthly demand for hiking boots from 2021 to 2024. So let's go ahead and start a new chat. We just click here to start a new chat or type in start a new chat. And then we're going to go ahead and download the data and see what that looks like. So we'll go ahead and download that. And usually I like it to ask to give me the last 5 lines of data to see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and input that and then ask for the last 5 lines of data. Okay, so here we're asking it to provide the last 5 lines of data so we can see what that looks like for this data set and move forward. Now, this particular data set suggests these are hiking boots, and we have hypothesized that hiking boots might be given as a gift. And so we're seeing this, there's the last 5 lines of data, and we're going to try to isolate if it's a holiday month versus a non-holiday month, because we think that might spur additional demand during the holiday period. So that might be some example of that. So we can see what this dummy variable looks like. We want it to be a 1 during the month of November and December and 0 otherwise. So we're asking it to provide that and select and create a new dummy variable. And so we're able to see that. Let's see if during the months of November and December it looks like the holiday shows up there. Okay, now we're going to do a regression of monthly demand. Now look at the wording here. So the regression is going to be the dependent variable, which we are trying to predict based on independent variables. In other words, the Y is monthly product demand, and the X possibilities are GDP, weather, and holiday, and we're asking it to provide full regression results. So we're trying to see, are these important? Are these statistically significant? Are they able to predict GDP? Usually when we look at GDP or a regression, we're trying to see, is the model any good? Does it predict better than chance? And as we go through, we're looking, okay, here's the dependent variables. That's something we want to check on. Looks like the data set has 48 observations. Looks like the model is significant. That'd be here, a very small p-value. Looks like it's explaining roughly 66% of the variance. And it looks like each of the variables are significant, meaning they are statistically significant at explaining monthly product demand. And so we're able to see that, and we're able to look at that and go kind of one by one. If GDP goes up, there's going to be an increase. If the warmer months, each degree suggests more units, and holiday months looks like in fact there is greater sales, and explains roughly 68% of the variance there. So now what we want to do is for each month in the data set, we want it to give us an expected value and then compare that to the actual value. Like, how good is this model? If we use the model and compared it to actual, are we always way off? Well, the expectation would be pretty high because it explains 68% of the variance. That's pretty good. So they should be relatively close. And so we're going to put on one axis the expected value and on the other axis the actual value, and see if they line up to see if this is any good, and take a look at that. What we're really interested in is, can it help predict the future? Like if this is November, hey, maybe greater sales, or if it seems warmer than usual, maybe that will bring it up. And so we're going to see that the Y is the actual, and then in this case X is the expected, and we see they're generally close to each other. And so it looks like it's doing a relatively good job at predicting demand. Now there's other things we could do, other ways we could put that in there to take a look. So let's go ahead and ask it to output the results. And since I didn't give any other information, it's probably going to provide it as either a PNG file or a Word file. I could specify more directly exactly what I want it to be as I share the story or report the results. I can be more specific. And so we can see that is saved there. It looks like this one is a text file, but I could ask for it to be in something else. I also want to output that scatter plot and put it into a picture file, a PNG file, and suggest that I could give it more details of what I've done to get it to that point. What does holiday eve equal? That it's the month of November and December, and provide that detail. The problem is always if I produce a whole ton of these and then it's 2 days later and I want to explain it to someone else, will I know what I did? And so that's often why I will ask it to print out the prompts. And I ask it specifically to display the prompts. And if I don't say anything else, it will usually just put it right on the screen. But here I'm going to go ahead and ask it directly, specifically to display these prompts on the screen. So here's the prompts, and this will complete our lab.